Good afternoon, students. I am Dr. Abhishek Raj from Department of Pharmacology, Government Medical College, Bettiah. Today, we will continue our lecture on anti-arrhythmic drugs. First, we will revise ventricular action potential. Ventricular action potential is responsible for contractility, and this property is known as inotropy. In this figure, x-axis denotes time and y-axis denotes membrane potential in millivolt. So in ventricular action potential, phase 4 is resting membrane potential minus 90 millivolt, as the myocyte is in rest as membrane potential is stable. Now phase 0 is depolarization phase. Cause is sodium influx through voltage gated sodium channel causes the membrane potential to reach towards positive side. Then phase 1, early repolarization phase, due to potassium efflux through opening of potassium channel, membrane potential falls as positive charge moves out. These potassium channels are called early rectifier potassium channel because they are correcting the depolarization. They are bringing the membrane potential towards negative side. Then phase 2, plateau phase. Cause is movement of potassium outside and movement of calcium inside through L-type calcium channel, that is long-lasting calcium channel. So membrane potential remains stable here, and that phase is known as plateau phase or phase 2. Then phase 3 is late repolarization phase. Here long-lasting calcium channel gets closed and potassium channel remains open. So there is potassium efflux, and membrane potential comes back to minus 90 millivolt. After this, phase 4 comes again. Now ventricular action potential. You can see here again, phase 4 RMP is minus 90 millivolt. Phase 0 depolarization phase. Phase 1 early repolarization phase. Phase 2 plateau phase. Phase 3 late repolarization phase. This is the figure of ventricular action potential. Here I am writing depolarization or phase 0. Depolarization or phase 0. Why it is happening? Due to sodium influx. And here repolarization or phase 3. And this repolarization of phase 3 is due to potassium efflux. Now here you can see start of action potential, that is start of depolarization, and this point end of action potential, that is end of repolarization, and the width is called action potential duration. So what is action potential duration? It is a time from start of action potential to the end of action potential, or it is a time from the start of ventricular depolarization to the end of ventricular repolarization. Now if we give drugs which block potassium channel, then what will happen? Repolarization will get delay or repolarization will get prolonged. Due to that, there is increase in action potential duration. So drugs which are potassium channel blockers that result in delay in repolarization and increase in action potential duration. So these drugs will act on phase 3, that is repolarization, because they will block the potassium channels. So in the figure I can show repolarization is prolonged, repolarization is delayed due to drugs which are blocking potassium channel, and due to this delayed repolarization, action potential duration gets prolonged. So potassium channel blockers increases action potential duration. Now we will see correlation of ventricular action potential and ECG. So you can ECG, you can see the waves. This is the P wave, then QRS complex, then T wave. Now this P wave is due to atrial contraction, and P wave denotes atrial depolarization. And this QRS complex is due to ventricular contraction, and this QRS complex denote ventricular depolarization. Then T wave denotes ventricular repolarization, and this ST segment denotes phase 2 in action potential. So in action potential, what is relevant here is phase 0, phase 2 and phase 3. So phase 0 in action potential, we know that phase 0 in action potential denotes ventricular depolarization. On ECG, it is represented by QRS complex. Phase 2 in action potential is represented on ECG by ST segment, and phase 3 in action potential denotes ventricular repolarization, and it is represented in ECG as T wave. Now you can see here dotted lines from the beginning of Q wave to the end of T wave. So this line, this point, beginning of Q wave, is the start of action potential or start of ventricular depolarization, and this end of T wave denotes end of action potential or end of ventricular repolarization. Action potential duration is the time from the start of action potential to the end of action potential. It can also be defined as it is the time from the start of ventricular depolarization to the end of ventricular repolarization. If we give drugs which block potassium channel, then we have already studied there will be delay in repolarization, and so that results in increase in action potential duration. And from the ECG we can see QT interval is equal to action potential duration. So increase in action potential duration increases QT interval on ECG. Now we study mechanism of arrhythmia. Arrhythmia occurs due to abnormal generation of impulses, and the other reason is abnormal conduction of impulses. The two mechanisms, abnormal generation of impulses, and second one is abnormal conduction of impulses. Now types of arrhythmia. Now what is bradycardia? Heart rate less than 60, and tachycardia, heart rate is more than 100. So types of arrhythmia, it is divided into two types, bradyarrhythmias and tachyarrhythmias. Bradyarrhythmia mean abnormal rhythm with reduced heart rate, and tachyarrhythmias abnormal rhythm with increased heart rate. In sinus bradycardia, SA node generate impulse less than 60 times per minute. In sinus bradycardia, SA node generates impulse less than 60 times per minute. The AV block, impulse conduction delayed or blocked through AV node and bundle of his. Then bundle branch block. I have taken an example of right bundle branch block. Normally what happens? SA node generate impulse that causes atria to contract. That impulse goes to AV node. Then the impulse reaches bundle of his. Then right bundle branch, and then to left bundle branch. And left bundle branch causes left ventricular contraction, and right bundle branch also causes right ventricular contraction, but in this case we have taken the example of right bundle branch block, so right bundle branch is blocked. Since right bundle branch is blocked, so impulse reaches left bundle branch and causes left ventricular contraction. Now signal spread through Purkinje fibers from left ventricle to right ventricle. And result in right ventricular contraction. And this right ventricular contraction occurs late. Since the right bundle branch is blocked and the impulse is coming from bundle of his, then to left bundle branch, then to left bundle branch, and that is causing left ventricular contraction. And then signal spread through Purkinje fibers from left ventricle to right ventricle and causing right ventricular contraction late. So that results in late ventricular depolarization. And we all know ventricular depolarization results in late ventricular depolarization results in white QRS complex. White QRS complex. White QRS complex means QRS is more than 120 milliseconds on ECG. Normal QRS complex is 80 to 100 millisecond, and QRS complex means contraction of both ventricles. So normal QRS complex is 80 to 100 millisecond. Since here the ventricular contraction occurring late, so late ventricular depolarization results in white QRS complex more than 120 millisecond. Now we study tachyarrhythmia. Two types of tachyarrhythmia: supraventricular tachycardia and ventricular tachyarrhythmia. First, we'll study supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. They are originating in SA node, AV node, and atria. Example: sinus tachycardia, atrial tachycardia, atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation, and paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. In sinus tachycardia, heart rate is more than 100. So in sinus tachycardia, heart rate is more than 100 beats per minute, and electrical signals originate in SA node. It is called sinus tachycardia. Now in atrial tachycardia, heart rate is more than 100 beats per minute, and electrical signal originate from atria. But outside of SA node. In atrial tachycardia, heart rate is more than 100 beats per minute, and electrical signals originate within the atria but outside the SA node. Other type of supraventricular tachyarrhythmia: atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation, and paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. Now here you can see atrial flutter. Atrial flutter, actually impulse from SA node goes to atria, then AV node, then bundle of His, right bundle branch and left bundle branch, then Purkinje fibers. So here in atria there is a reentrant circuit I have shown. What is reentrant? Electrical signal that loops back on itself, and that reentrant circuit causes contraction of atria at a very fast rate, results in fast and regular heart rate. That is all about atrial flutter. Now atrial fibrillation, atrial fibers are activated asynchronously, that is in disorganized manner. In atrial fibrillation, we see rapid and irregular beating of atria. How it is happening? Rapid and irregular beating of atria, because atrial fibers are activated asynchronously in disorganized manner. Atrial fibers take over SA node, so many signals from atrial fibers are generating, and that result in multiple small contractions, and atria start quivering, that is shaking, and that result in rapid and irregular beating of atria. Now paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, it is a type of supraventricular tachycardia named due to its intermittent episode. What is the cause of paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia? One is AV nodal reentrant tachycardia. So SA node, impulse goes to atria, contract both the atria, then AV node, then ventricles, where in ventricles, bundle of His, right bundle branch, left bundle branch, then Purkinje fibers contract both the ventricles. Here you can see there is a reentrant circuit from AV node to atria, and that reentrant circuit is causing atria to contract before SA node sends out signal. So I put a cross mark here. Before SA node sends out signal, atria contracts due to reentrant circuit. The other cause of paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia is Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. It is a type of AVRT, AV reentrant tachycardia. Atrioventricular reentrant tachycardia. Reentrant is electrical signal that loops back on itself. Now here SA node, impulse generated from SA node goes to atria, then AV node, then in ventricles it goes to bundle of his, right bundle branch, left bundle branch, then Purkinje fibers. Now I have made an accessory pathway from ventricle to atria, and that accessory pathway is called bundle of Kent. In case of Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, that accessory pathway is called bundle of Kent. This accessory pathway is causing atria to contract before SA node sends out signal. So I put a cross mark in SA node because atria contracts before SA node gives out signal. Atria contracts because of impulses from accessory pathway, and that impulse goes to AV node, then ventricles, bundle of His, right bundle branch, left bundle branch, Purkinje fibers, and thus that causes both the ventricles to contract. Now again, after contraction of ventricle through accessory pathway, this cycle repeats. That result in increase in heart rate, that is 200 to 250 beats per minute, resulting in supraventricular tachycardia. Now we will study ventricular tachyarrhythmia. They are originating in ventricles. First, ventricular tachycardia. Example of ventricular tachyarrhythmia: ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, Torsades de Pointes. So ventricular tachycardia, in ventricular tachycardia, electrical signals start in ventricle, they do not start in SA node. If there are four or more PVC, that is premature ventricular contraction, in a row, four or more premature ventricular contraction in a row, that is four or more consecutive premature ventricular contraction, that is indicative of ventricular tachycardia. What is premature ventricular contraction? Premature ventricular contraction is single beat originating from ventricle. Now we study ventricular fibrillation. Normally what happens? All muscle fibers of ventricle contract synchronously due to electrical impulse conduction. Means they contract at the same time. But in ventricular fibrillation, the electrical activity is disorganized, and due to disorganized electrical activity, ventricular muscle fibers are not contracting synchronously. They are not contracting at the same time, and that result in ventricles to start quivering, that is shaking. Due to that, heart stops pumping blood efficiently and result in brain does not get enough oxygen and can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. Next example of ventricular tachyarrhythmia is Torsades de Pointes. Here there is polymorphic ventricular tachycardia. Plus prolonged QT interval. Now poly means multiple and morphic means QRS interval. So there are multiple QRS interval in Torsades de Pointes, and QT prolongation means repolarization is prolonged. Repolarization is prolonged. Torsades de Pointes meaning of Torsades de Pointes word is twisting of points. Polymorphic ventricular tachycardia with prolonged QT interval, that is Torsades de Pointes. Now we will come to classification of antiarrhythmic drug, and the classification is known as Vaughan Williams classification of antiarrhythmic drugs. So Vaughan Williams classification of antiarrhythmic drugs include class 1, 2, 3, 4 and miscellaneous. Class 1 sodium channel blocker, class 2 beta blocker, class 3 potassium channel blocker, class 4 calcium channel blocker. Under miscellaneous drugs we have digoxin, magnesium sulfate, adenosine, atropine. That brings us to the end of today's lecture. In next lecture we will study about these drugs in detail. Thank you.